Hello again, it's Adrian Salbuchi from Argentina. I'm proud to be part of a team of citizens, of Argentines, US citizens, Canadians and British citizens and elsewhere who are presently working together to create a workable and concrete strategy that will help to combat the catastrophic effects of the global power elites' war on freedom that they are waging against all of us. We are calling this project the Second Republic. And you can see our initial two-part video which I posted on the 29th of March on YouTube. Shortly, we will be preparing further explanatory videos and articles, both in Spanish and in English, describing the key factors or the key pillars of for a Second Republic. Please bear with us. We're doing all we can with limited time and resources that we presently have. But first, I'd like to thank the thousands of messages that you have been sending me and other freedom warriors over the email. The fight against the global power elite is definitely on. We are on the move. I notice, however, that some of you sound rather pessimistic. I know, at times it seems like all is lost, we're beaten, nothing we can do. The key question is, has the global enemy become far too strong? Are we far too weak? My answer is yes and no. Yes, the global power elite is very strong, but no, they're not that strong. They have many weak points: internal dissent, gross miscalculations, omissions, mistakes, errors, oversights, sloth, ignorance, at times stupidity, pride, which always comes before a fall. At times they often seem to shoot themselves in the foot. German poet Johann Goethe once said, "Coming events cast their shadows forwards," and indeed they do, and many of us have the intuition to see that. The power elite don't. We the people's fight for freedom is an all-out war. It's a question of to be or not to be for every country, every region, every town and city, every neighborhood, every man, woman and child on this earth. Actually, it's also a question of to be or not to be for them as well. So, my friends, roll up your sleeves, stand up and fight. They can be beaten, they must be vanquished. First thing to point out, the key to fighting this war lies in understanding that they are waging for decades now a psychological war against us, Psy-war. And the heart of Psy-war is to align their people towards a common purpose, while at the same time they confuse, divert, misleads their enemy, that's us. They mar our better judgment, override our common sense, disorientate, weaken and tire us out. The objective? Make us all believe that they are far stronger than they really are, and that we are much weaker than we really are, so that no one dares to resist them. However, yes, there is a power gap. But no, it's not that big. We can close the gap, and then we can close in on them. You see, they're a tiny, tiny minority wielding huge amounts of highly concentrated and aligned power. Like a sharp laser beam, they can burn through anything and anyone, anywhere, and at any time they wish. We, on the contrary, are a huge majority wielding a vast amount of highly diluted, misaligned, haphazard power. We are like untold hundreds of millions of little flashlights pointing every which way. The final result? We're just a diffuse, unclear glow. They are a high-power, sharp, very focused, deadly laser beam. So the strategy is we need to align, we need to come together, organize, team up. Like the tiny domains in a magnet, once they become magnetized by an invisible field, it becomes very powerful. Today, Second Republic is that magnetic field, an idea whose time has come. We need to think with our own minds and not with theirs. We need to break through their news speak and understand that there is no democracy, there is no law, there is no freedom, there are no free markets. They don't want peace. They're dead set against your life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's why they demolish education, culture, and values. They want and need to have total control over you. They need you to be and stay stupid. They need you to be passive, that you willingly work for them and against your own interests. So, we must break their stranglehold. Let's make them start doubting that they can ever win and impose a world government upon all of us. So our message to the New World Order power elite is, soon we'll be coming after you. You've done us too much harm. We will not forgive. We will not forget. We're not taking this anymore. More and more of us, the world over, now understand what the problem is all about. We are discovering that what the real threats and opportunities are, how to minimize the former and take full advantage of the latter. We are starting to understand what our strengths and weaknesses are, and just as important, what their weaknesses are. Because every weakness that we identify in the global power elite becomes automatically a strength for us. Don't let them fool you that big and powerful are always the best. I'll give you an example. Two enemies are locked up in a small room. One has a high-power 125mm anti-aircraft gun. The other has a 9mm pistol. Who's stronger? The former may have a lot more firepower, but whilst he is trying to aim, the guy with the pistol will have shot him 10 times over. So flexibility, speed, surprise, and creativity are also power. Big is not always best, and much less beautiful. Often big is just clumsy, wasteful. Remember David and Goliath. And another point. What's the rush? Where's the fire? The global power elite are, if they're so damn powerful and have everything so completely under their control, as they would have us believe, then why are they so hysterically rushing everything? Why the roller coaster financial collapses and crises? Why the sloppy invasion of entire countries? Why the bullying against Iran? Why the Holocaust mongering and bigoted inflexibility? Why the hiding of 9/11 truth and London 7 July 2005 truth and the Buenos Aires Jewish Mutual Association AMIA bombings? Why the hysterical name-calling? As we the people awaken to the truth, we are automatically branded by them conspiracy theorists, undemocratic, fundamentalists, anti-Semites, Holocaust deniers, and their favorite of all times, terrorists. I mean, if we are so puny, then why worry so much about us? Or maybe we're not so puny, and maybe they might be the biggest boy on the block, but you know something, that big brother, that big boy on the block, might end up just being a sissy and a coward. I believe time is running out for the global power elite, and they know it. Their window of opportunity started closing and will irreversibly slam shut in the next 3 to 5 years. They know if they do not achieve world government now, then it will all be downhill, downhill, and downhill for them. That's why it is so important to resist. Time is on our side, not on theirs. That's their weak point. Never let yourself be guided nor terrorized by what things appear to be. Rather, first make sure you understand what they really are like. Very powerful regimes and people today can be totally devastated tomorrow. Remember the Soviet Union and Nikita Khrushchev bagging his shoe at the UN saying, "We will bury you"? Remember mutually assured destruction? Remember Richard Nixon? Remember New York Governor Eliot Spitzer? Remember Hank Greenberg of AIG fame? Remember Bernie Madoff, Enron, WorldCom, Jimmy Swaggart, the Lehman Brothers Bank, the Argentine generals of 1976, Donald Rumsfeld, China's Great Cultural Revolution? Does anybody remember communism? The Berlin Wall? Pride does come before a fall. Today, the global power elite are very cocky and proud of their CFR think tanks, their Bilderberg hush-hush elite meetings, their false flag events, A-bombs, fighter jets, Mossad, CIA, and MI6 hitmen, Israeli warmongers, Rockefellers, Goldman Sachs, Rothschilds, megacorporations, and gigabanks. But don't let yourself be fooled. The global power elite are terrified of us. They'll do everything they can to block us from coming together. They want us all in isolation, sitting in our living rooms, watching sports or soap operas or stupid movies on TV, hardly blinking, understanding nothing of what's happening, and becoming ever more cowardly. So the key is to understand, which is very different from being informed by the global media. Excuse my French, but when the power elite pisses on our heads, the New York Times and the global mainstream media everywhere will just shout, "Hey, it rained today." So what do you say? Stay home depressed, sad, in anguish and despair, or let's beat the hell out of these SOBs whilst we still have time? First step, understand, awaken, alert, awaken others, work. Second step, we must take our countries back. The way to do that is by founding a second republic. Please watch my Second Republic Project videos on YouTube. It's a starting point towards a second declaration of independence for all peoples the world over. As Welsh poet Dylan Thomas once said, "Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light." In their despair, many people today seem to think, time's up. It's midnight. It's the end of the world. And the global power elite, with a lot of help from Hollywood, fuel this dread with simplistic 2012 end of the world rubbish. Not so. I say, metaphorically, it's late, but it's not yet midnight. It's 11:15 in the evening. So, although it is late, we still have 45 minutes of historical time to put up a hell of a fight. Have you ever thought what you can do in 45 minutes?